What's up? Let me get my screen here situated.
Hey, everyone.
What's up? It's your favorite Western North Carolina real estate agents. And today we're going live on looking at Oak Island, Holden Beach, Ocean Isle Beach, all that cool stuff, which I'm really excited about. But I just want to get the screen pulled up here. Let's see. Okay. Oops. If y'all have any questions during this live, please feel free to post them in the chat, whatever. Now my whole live is gone. There it is. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, y'all. So today we're talking about Oak Island. Really excited about this. Over in Oak Island, you have a couple other cool spots. You have Ocean Isle Beach. You have Holden Beach. And if you're not familiar with where this area is, this is in the southern border of North Carolina on the coast. So we actually took the whole team out there. We spent a bunch of time over the summer, rented an Airbnb. It's such a cool little city. I really like that it's 3 unique islands, but the thing that I liked the most about it was it wasn't like commercialized. It wasn't kitschy. It was like cute ice cream shops and grocery stores and then just rows of houses. There wasn't like go-karts and there wasn't a ton of traffic. Like it was just simple, easy. Like it felt like maybe how vacationing was back in the 80s. And I know that there is a push more and more for places like this that aren't kitschy and that don't cost $20 to get everywhere and $20 to get into anywhere and then $100 to eat and all this stuff. So there's a lot of really, really cool spots on this southern coast of North Carolina. Let me show you guys. Let's see. So if you look here, you'll kind of see Oak Island here. And this is south of Wilmington, right on the border of South Carolina and North Carolina. So here you have Ocean Isle Beach, Holden Beach, and then Oak Island. And so these are the 3 islands that we're going to be talking about today. Really, really cool areas. One thing I like about these areas is that they are southern facing. So if you look at the rest of the East Coast here, it's like mostly just east facing, but there's this cove here that is kind of formed by the point over here in Kear Beach and Bald Head Island that points all of these islands southern. And so you get really beautiful waves that come in, nice color. I don't know if you guys saw over the summer, there was like really beautiful blue, clear water up there. Really, really cool. All right, so let's dive in. Grace, what did you like about Oak Island?
So I actually have a lot of experience there because that's where I usually vacation. But the same thing that you just said, like it's a small town feel, and then Southport is right down the street, which is really, really cute. I think they filmed a couple of like movies there as well, but don't quote me on that. But like a lot of nice restaurants, a lot of like little shops, which I love. And it's like that like small town, like beachy like thing they have going on. It's also pretty close to Cure Beach. There's a lot to do there. And then you can take a ferry and go to the aquarium, which is really, really cool. I think that's my favorite thing to do there, besides just like hanging out on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. Very cool. So let's take a look. As you can see, listings by rental type, these are beaches full of homes. It's all short-term rentals. There's no hotels. There's none of that. There's no oceanfront resorts. It's literally just rows and rows and rows of houses that are short-term rentals. And here's the interesting thing is that everything that's there, probably most of it anyways, is a short-term rental now. There's also very little room left to build. There are very few buildable lots left. And so right now it's about at capacity. Going into the future is a really solid bet in terms of real estate market appreciation and revenue appreciation in the area, because you can't saturate the market any more than it already is. If you see here from, let's see, this is really typical in beach markets for there to be a lot of listings available, and then that goes down in the winter, and then it comes back up in the summer. And so if you see here in June of 2022, there were 2,000 listings. In June of 2023, there were 2,100 listings. So it's not changing very much, the number of listings. And now back in December, it's back down to 2,000. So all the way from 2022, 2,000 listings to today, and then going into the future as well. So really interesting. You can see it's mostly private homes there. You can also see that there's a lot of 4 and 5 bedrooms, which we really like, as you're seeing a lot of people travel in groups. So I think that's really interesting in terms of like the rental sizes, that there are 4 and 5 bedrooms. Here's one interesting thing I think about Oak Island is that you can get oceanfront for less than $1 million. Now that house isn't like big, it's not beautiful. It's typically a 2 or 3 bedroom that's a little bit dated, but where else in the country can you get oceanfront for less than $1 million nowadays? I haven't seen anywhere, or at least not anywhere where you'd want to swim, half of the year. So I think that's really interesting. And I think that shows you that there's going to be massive appreciation in the next few years in the area, because now there's nothing left to build. There's no buildable lots left. So I have a lot of people calling me about investing in this area because it's a great little beach market. These 3 islands. And I think there's a lot of room in the future for higher revenue and better occupancy rates and all that. Average daily rates in the area have come up 3% year over year. Revenue per available renting is up 5% year over year. So pretty good stats overall. A lot of the properties over here are property managed. So this would be a really good place to come in and self-manage and design a super property that you can actually really do really well with and beat out all that competition. All right, what do we see here? See, one thing that I'm noticing here, look at this occupancy rate. So January, 32%, July, 88%. Obviously, we know beachfront markets, the summer is going to be packed, right? But for me, what's interesting is that January is a 32% occupancy rate. And we've seen this in like the Oak Island Facebook groups. People are asking like, where should we come stay for Thanksgiving? And where should we stay for Christmas? And where should we stay for New Year's? So for me, what this looks like is that you never lose money on your rentals. So some beach markets are just totally dead from the end of summer all the way till the beginning of spring. And this is showing that there's a huge disparity between the two, but a 30% occupancy rate should still pay all the bills for your property. So there's no months where you're going negative. What about this? People are booking way longer in advance, 25% longer in advance than ever before, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is the people that love the beach, you can't keep them away from the beach, even if it's January or February. They're still going to go if they get the chance.
I know. I just got off the phone with Kenny Bedwell, and he's down in Destin right now because he wanted to escape, sub-freezing temperatures in Buffalo, New York.
Yep.
Okay, let's take a look. Obviously, summer, length of stay 6-7 days. People are coming for a week, but even in January the length of stay is 4 days, which I think is really good as an average in the area. I think that's really interesting. Number of bedrooms for listings, obviously the market is way oversaturated with 3 bedrooms. We can see that here. Demand, let's look at demand over like the last 3 years. Okay, so look at this. This is a really cool graph that shows booking demand over the last 3 years. So there's so many people, and Grace, I mean, we hear this so much, right? You can't trust like 2020 and 2022 numbers. There was a big bump and it was a post-COVID thing and whatever. I don't know. This to me looks really, really static. It looks to me like those bumps are going higher every year, right? You have the seasonality at play creating those waves there, like every beach market. But to me, this is clearly showing that every year we continue to go up and up and up and up. So that's really interesting. I think the area just continues to grow, where 2023 was the best year ever, with the most listing days booked, the most number of booked listings, and the most demand in the area, continuing to go up year over year over year. Let's see, pre-COVID 2018. Look at that. Even, I mean, you see COVID there, right, come down a little bit, but every year it just goes a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. And so now, if you have the same amount of listings available because you can't build anymore on Oak Island, now what are we going to start seeing? We're going to start seeing bigger jumps every year because there's no more inventory that can be added. So I think that's pretty interesting. People are booking right now for this month, which is kind of cool. February, next 30 days. Grace, you seen anything interesting?
I think from my just experience with the area in itself, it's kind of like North Carolina's best kept secret. Like, I think people think of the area and they think, oh, well, it's not as touristy or as much as attractions as like some other beach markets, but I think that's wrong, just because when I went, like, there's a ton of stuff to do. They're always like implementing new things there. And so I think it's kind of like a beach market that is pretty slept on.
Yeah, I think so too. Obviously, there are more listings from this year to the last couple of years, so revenue per available listing is down just a little bit. But we see that everywhere. That's not new to us. That's not some new thing, or it's not unique to this area. I think at the end of the day, what it shows is that there's an oversaturation in Airbnb, and anybody that's telling you there's not is lying to you. And what you need to do is just improve your listings, right? And that's easy to do. We can figure out how to do that, and we know how to do that. Average daily rate. Let's see what that's looked like over the last couple of years. Okay, so average daily rates 2022 out $300. Not a huge difference here. They kind of intermingle. But overall plus 3% over the past year on average. Pretty good. Revenue per available rental is plus 5% over the past year. Weekend revenue per available rental is plus 12% year over year, which is pretty good. Let's see. People are booking daily lead time. Obviously, the main one is 91 days in advance. 41% of people are booking 91 days in advance, which is real cool.
Mm-hmm.
Even like January, people are still booking 91 days in advance. But a lot of last minute bookings there. 78% last minute bookings in January. It's kind of interesting. But people are going, obviously.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've noticed, just looking through inventory every day, is like there's a big, opportunity here. Like, all of the listings, they all have the same design. They're all have seashells and seahorses, and it's all the same. And it's just like there's a huge miss that's happening for someone to come in and really like blow it out of the water. And all the listings I've seen, just like even looking at comps, like nobody has done that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. So you can see that in some of the listings here. Some of them have pools, some of them don't. But overall, we have not seen like a super property in Oak Island yet. So I think there's huge room for people to come in. You can see some of these listings, like this is some of the top properties over there. So for me, this is the biggest potential, right? We know that there's millions of dollars being spent in the market, right? We can see that. We can see the occupancy rates here hover somewhere between, 70, 80, some are 90%, obviously for the best properties, but even those are just not that good. So I think there's a lot of room here to come in and actually redesign and come and take over this top revenue spot. Really think that that's possible. Looking at like for sale properties, you can get beachfront, right, for under $1 million. Like if you look at this one, I think this property is actually beachfront. Let's see. Yeah, we looked at this one. This is a
Mhm.
beachfront house for $900,000. I think it's really, really interesting what you can get out here and then when you go do it really, really well. I think that that's really, really interesting in terms of like what you could do with a property like this. Cool. Anybody have any questions about Oak Island, Ocean Isle Beach, Holden Beach, anything like that? Just shoot them in the comments. Happy to answer those. I don't know. Let's see. Let's go over to Ocean Isle Beach. For me,
Yeah.
Oak Island was the nicest. I liked it.
Yeah, there's Ocean Isle. There is also Holden Beach too.
Mm-hmm. So number of rentals up a little bit in Ocean Isle Beach too. June 2023, 755. June 2022, 689. So a little less than 100 new listings year over year. I'm comparing summer to summer because that's when you're going to see the most listings in a beach market. Let's see. How much of the month was occupied? This is interesting. 36% occupied in January. I think that's really interesting. That should pay the bills right there for sure. How much revenue? Let's see. Okay, this is what I wanted to see. So let's look at this for the last few years. I want to see how much money is being spent year over year. Okay, so this is another one of those cases you can see here where more money is being spent every single year. So for us, we're going to look at houses. So $387,000 this July, 323 last July. Let's see, 173,000 the July before that. So more money's being spent than ever in this market. Look at those big spikes there.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so historically, it kind of stayed the same. Post-COVID, it continues to go up, go up, go up. More money's being spent in the area than ever. Average daily rates here are significantly higher than Oak Island. So I'm excited to check out some of the listings here. Average daily rates kind of the same. Let's see. Okay. Weekend RevPAR's up. That's per available listing, plus 7% year over year. Obviously, the best month is July. People are booking pretty far in advance. Let's see. What was that nice graph that I was looking at in the last one? The future demand. Let's see. Demand changed over time. Okay, let's look at last 3 years. Well, let's do pre-COVID. So you can see here year over year over year, just like Oak Island, it's continuing to get more and more and more. Ocean Isle Beach, I think there's a little bit of construction happening there, but overall, when you invest in a beach market, you're investing for the long term because one of the best things you can get in the beach market is appreciation. Obviously, things like insurance and taxes are going to be higher by the beach, so you're going to suffer a little bit less for cash flow, but you're typically going to see way more appreciation by the beach than you're going to see, for instance, in the mountains. So I think there's some of that at play there. Even the lows, so December 2023, are higher every year than the previous years. So I think that's really, really interesting that we're just seeing more and more and more demand. Now enough, I think, look at the old Januaries. Like nobody was going in these old January and Februaries. Nobody was going. Now people are going and spending hundreds of nights there, booking, dozens of listings. And I find that really interesting because it can help you suffer through that seasonality a lot that you get in those like beach markets. All right, let's see. This Ocean Isle Beach, only 118 active short-term rentals here, so the data is a little bit all over the place. But looking at some of these properties, I don't know. I'm looking at this revenue potential going like, where the heck did this come from? Because let's see. Oh, well, that might help. I have this set at just 3 bedrooms. Okay, let's look at the real market. 893 active short-term rental listings there. Big oceanfront places doing almost 450,000 a year, 336,000 a year. These like big wedding kind of destinations with pools that are oceanfront. So there are actually some like big super properties going in over here, but obviously you can see something like this doing 300,000 doesn't look so great, kind of like, Motel 6 on the water. So I think if you came in and actually did the right things, you have a lot of potential for making a lot of good money here. I want to go back real quick to Oak Island and just look at this, because I think I have that same filter on still. There we go. So there's 2,500 active short-term rental listings there, and some of the best ones are doing 500, 450, and then 400,000, obviously, for these big, huge ones. But then you get to, let's see, some of these cool ones. But if you see, like, I'm not seeing any like super properties here, at least kind of from the outset. There's some decent ones doing 250,000, 274,000. But other than that, I'm not sure there's anything like designed exactly the right way. This one is pretty cool, and that's probably why it's doing so well. 337,000.
So as far as location, do you think they should be on they want to stay on that other side of the intercoastal waterway, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Right. Okay.
And even that, like, we actually found, we really liked this area over here. It's by the park. There's grocery stores, stuff like that. It's really easy to get in to the area. There's only one way in and out of Oak Island. Well, I guess there's two. The main way in is over here, and that's where people would come from Wilmington. And so I think you would probably want to be like here in this area. That's what we've been looking for, at least on Oak Island.
We have a comment here too. Do you think because of the overabundance of 3 bedrooms that you would need to buy a property with 4 bedrooms?
100%. 100%.
Yeah, 4 bedrooms plus, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's possible there too. Okay, look at Holden Beach. So this is really cool. All the numbers here are positive, so maybe this is somewhere to really take a look at. It actually also has the best score that I've seen so far, 93% investability from AirDNA. That's pretty cool. Let's take a look. Let's dive in. Look at this. This is really interesting to me, actually. So you can see in 2021, there were 471 listings available. 2023, 457 listings available. So there's actually less listings overall than there were a couple of years ago, which is pretty interesting to me. I think I would want to be in a location like that, and it's probably why this is showing up where revenue is up. Occupancy rate is up. Length of stay is up 20%. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Even January occupied 34% in 2023. December occupied 38%. So that's pretty interesting. I think we're going to see the same thing here that we saw on the other islands. Oh, there's a better graph for this. Okay, let's look. Demand changing over time since pre-COVID. This is Holden Beach, guys. This is in the middle of Ocean Isle Beach and Oak Island. Really, really beautiful area. They're all kind of the same in terms of like the demographics, the way that the houses are set up, just kind of row houses on these little tiny barrier islands and all oceanfront. Really easy to get to the beach from any listing because they're all real skinny. So really, really easy to get to the ocean from almost anywhere on all 3 of these islands. This is showing the same story, demand over time, it looks like to me, continuing to go up year over year over year over year. Obviously, the island is not increasing in size, and they will not be able to build many more houses in these islands. So for me, that's what I'm looking at, especially in terms of appreciation and then future demand. Average revenue is up 5%. Entire place revenue is up 7%. House revenue is up 11%. So overall, pretty good. Listings are earning more than the past year. You don't see that a lot right now in most markets because there's too many listings. So we may already be seeing in Holden Beach where maybe what's happening here is exactly what I'm saying is going to happen in Ocean Isle Beach and Oak Island, where we have finally hit the point of saturation for the entire island being short-term rentals, right? Somewhere 80, 90%. And now that's just going to drive revenue and appreciation higher because you can't build a lot more. So that's kind of interesting. What is there to do in Holden Beach? Any idea?
I mean, it's super close to all the stuff that you can do in Oak Island too. So I mean, it's all kind of right there. Mainly, I mean, if you want to go inland, there's stuff to do. If you want to kind of stay on the beach, like I said, like Southport's a really great area, and like Cure Beach. Wilmington's not too far either if you wanted to make that trek. So
Yeah, we did that.
yeah. How is the beach erosion in these islands?
It's definitely not as bad as somewhere like the Outer Banks. And I think it has a lot to do with the direction that they're faced and how they get hit by the waves. So if you weren't on in the beginning, we kind of showed, and I'm not an erosion expert, so if somebody wants to prove me wrong, feel free. But I think it's the way that it's faced. So these beaches are southern facing just because of the way that they come out kind of in a point here. And so they get hit in a different way by the waves coming off of the east there. Obviously, all beach markets have trouble with erosion. That's something you should probably look into. I don't know a ton about it. What I'm looking at overall is how much did each real estate type make in revenue. And so houses, you can see here, June and July made about $7.2 million each. Let's see, same last year, but June made a little bit less. So it seems like people are coming for a longer summer. About $1 million more was spent in June this past year than the year before that. So that's real interesting. But I think overall, you can see that there's a trend of continuing to go up, up, up. This year, it's about 19% higher than last year. And that's real interesting because I don't think house prices have come up 19%. So you're seeing revenue move more into the realm of what the houses are actually worth, which I think you're not seeing in a lot of markets right now. You're kind of paying for the future there. Average daily rates are going up. Let's see. Revenue per available listing and weekend RevPAR are going up. And people are booking pretty far in advance here as well. But again, a lot of those slow months are getting booked, at the last minute, 50-60% booked at the last minute. So people are going out to these beaches, 30-40% occupancy in January, February, December. And I think that's where you may not be seeing that in some of the other beach markets. So it's a little bit more stable in terms of your income that you're able to get. Any parting thoughts, Grace?
No, I love this area, so I encourage everyone to check it out.
Yeah, we're going to be sending out probably an email with only Oak Island properties in it in the next couple of days. So if y'all are not on our email list or don't get our emails every day, the subject lines are very punny, and we've been complimented on them like numerous times, which is so awesome. But I would definitely come look out here. You can see actually one thing that I'm noticing is some of these top properties are only 5 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms. So unlike Ocean Isle Beach, which had a lot of big properties on it, 10, 12 bedrooms, which obviously are much more expensive oceanfront, Ocean Isle Beach or Holden Beach anyways, it does not look like you have to have those big 12, 10 bedroom, whatever. They obviously exist. There are a couple of them, but for the most part, this one, it says it has 16 beds, could sleep 50. Obviously, it's a big difference from this one here, which is a 5-bed, 4-bath, 14 guests, right? Just a nice beach house. You can see the potential here, 500,000, 600,000, $350,000 a year in potential, 472 in potential. So there's a lot of potential in these houses out here. I think for us, one of the main things we've seen is just that nobody's designing these as super properties. So we'd love to see y'all get out there and do that. And we'd love to help you on that journey. So if you want to hit us up, ask us what our opinion would be on any of these houses. We're going to send out some really cool Oak Island properties, and Grace and I are always here to help.
We also have one last comment. Do you know if this is an area where snowbirds stay?
I would say 100%. I know you've got 2 different types of areas, right? So you have Myrtle Beach, which obviously is hustle and bustle, and there's go-karts and there's all sorts of stuff to do. But Oak Island, Ocean Isle Beach, and Holden Beach are a lot slower in life. Mm-hmm. So those snowbirds typically tend to be a different age group, right? They're typically an older age group. So to me, looking at this, I would say yes, 100%. And you can see that in the occupancy rates where they're 35-40% occupied, even in the dead of winter, right, on the beach. These folks are not going to Florida they're coming to the North Carolina coast here. So yeah, it definitely seemed to me by looking at the occupancy rate over the year that you'd more than be able to pay your bills in this low season and then just really rev up for spring and summer, kill it, make all your money for the year, and then go back down to where you're kind of hovering back down to that 50, 60, 40, 30 percent occupancy rates. So yeah, other than that, I think that's it. And just shoot us an email if you guys have any questions, or book a call, savvy.realty/agent if you want to book a call. And we'd love to help you out over here.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all.
Thank you, guys.